Okay, so the next topics that we have are the dialect, sociolect, and the standard. Sorry. Okay, so we have there what is a dialect. So dialect is that it is a variety of language which is spoken in a particular geographic region. It is a natural variety of base language that has characteristics that may identify the speaker with a region. So when we say dialect is that you can associate that kind of language, diba, to a certain person or where he or she lives. So say for an example is I am from Aklan, so that is why I am speaking Aklanon. So when we say if you were from Aklan is that we have these syllables such as la, diba? EA. So that is what makes us distinguishable, di ba, among the other regions that we have here because we have different language. Same goes with Iloilo, di ba? And same goes with Iloilo. So an Ilonggo is that he or she speaks with a Hiligaynon dialect. Okay, right? Okay, so it is also a speech community within an isolated geographic speech that use regional language variations. But then is that say for an example in Aklan, not all Aklanons speaks the same. Because say for an example is in Nabas or in Malay, they have this tone which makes us distinguishable also. Because if you say that if you're in Aklanon, you cannot say that we all speak the same, right? So that is why we need to have variety in order for us to make distinguishable. Okay, so what are the five dialects in linguistics? So we have there five: the standard dialect, the non-standard dialect, the regional dialect, the sociolect, and the temporal dialect. Okay, now when we say first is the standard dialect, you have there the key terms which is informal settings. Now this kind of dialects is what we use, diba? Say for an example is when we are talking to a person that have this educational background that are say for an example we can say that we are talking to a teacher or to a head teacher to a principal, diba? And then the standard, okay, and then we have also the non-standard dialect. So we can probably say that it is more informal and setting because this is when we are more relaxed with the people we know well. So say for an example, just speak normal when you are with your family. So imagine that you're having a dinner with your family. So that is where we use the non-standard dialect. Then say for this one is a regional dialect. So it is not a distinct language, but a variety of language spoken in a particular area of a country. Okay, so some regional dialects have been given traditional names which mark them as out as being significantly different from standard varieties spoken in the same place. So just what I have said earlier is that not all Aklanons speak the same. Because say for an example in Sinabas is that they have this specific trait of language makes which makes them distinguishable among us, no? Also in Libacao, because Libacao is like a mountainous place in Aklan. So that is why is the language that they use there is not totally just like ours or just like an Akbanon language. Okay, we also have there a temporal dialect. So in linguistics, a chronolect or temporal dialect is a specific speech variety whose characteristics are in particular determined by time-related factors. As such, it can be contrasted with a sociolect, an ethnolect, or a geolect. So I think that I can give an example about a temporal dialect. Say for an example is Latin because it is already a language that is not practiced by many people, so that is why it is already called as a dead language temporal. So just of course in a specific type. Okay, now we are going to proceed about the dialect versus language versus accent. So we are going to discuss about the differences between those three. Okay, so what is the difference between a language, a dialect, and an accent? Okay, so you can see there that an accent is simply how one pronounces words, a style of pronunciation. Um, a person, di ba? There are a lot. There are certain persons which have this certain type of accent when they are talking. So sometimes we will be amazed with this person because they speak so well. Most especially those who are working in a telecommunications company. So I am truly mesmerized by how they speak because they have this set accent, but that not everyone could have. Same goes also with some of the English teachers. I know that all of us English teachers is that we have this variety of accents that we have, but not every one of us could have the same accent. Okay, so say for an example is in Akyanon, we speak just normally, but in Hiligaynon is that you have the cutest accent like ever because say for an example is they would always associate the Hiligaynon dialect with this being calm, being sweet. Where in fact you cannot already distinguish if he or she is being mad at you already. So that is why some Akanons it's funny because some Akanons would always try this cute thing about Hiligaynon accent where they would try to speak in an Ilonggo way in order for them to feel like they have this sweet type of accent. But only Ilonggos can do that. Okay? So while we're now going to discuss about dialect. Okay, so dialect includes not just pronunciation but also one's general vocabulary and grammar. So it is not already it does not focus about pronunciation. It's about your vocabulary and grammar of that certain dialect that you have. So with any given language, both dialect and accent will vary. So dialect and accent they're both part of a language. They both are largely a product of a geograph and a region. So, okay, I hope that I am not being too fast, but we are going now to discuss about the social. Now, when we say a sociolect is that it is a dialect, sorry, that concerns with the social status and class. Okay, I think that that is really easy to comprehend. So, in studying social dialect, we have two groups of people. So, we have there the middle class and the working class. Okay, when we say middle class, is that those are the group of people wherein like they have a more educational background and they perform non-manual work wherein the working class is that of course they perform works and they also have fewer years of education. Okay, so as we can see, social X is that it examines the relationship between social class, the prestige, the language factors, the education, occupation, income level, the upper middle, low class of English. Okay, so say for an example is that standard English can be classified as a type of social English spoken by the educated speakers of English throughout the world. I think that every one of us would agree that, say, for an example, is in a court or in a trial, diba? Have you ever heard of a judge talking in a Tagalog language? Not right, okay. So that is why they are using English because it is the standard. Okay, so it is used also, say for an example, by the lawyers, which makes them distinguishable also. Okay, so we have there the types of socialect. We have the vernacular, the slang, and the jargon. Okay, when we say vernacular, is that it is a language spoken rather than written formally by a group of people who have the same profession, lived in the same region and country. So it's uncodified and unstandardized varieties. It is used at home as a first variety and it is used for relative circumscribed functions. Okay. Now, we can say that vernacular is a type of language that is informally used. Okay, informally used because it is not that standard. So it may be your first language, or say for an example is when I am not teaching inside the classroom, I may use the vernacular because I am not already, diba? I am not already teaching them the English. Okay, it differs from official language or literal language because it is like people talk with each other as well as families talk at home with each other. So that's how you can distinguish vernacular, diba? You can express your own thoughts, diba? Using the language that you are comfortable using with. So we also have their slang. So when we say slang is that it is an informal, non-standard variety of speech that is characterized by the change of words and phrases immediately. Okay. Now, when we say slang, is that it is not the type of accent. Rather, when we say slang, is this you have the term there non-standard, meaning you have your own way of expressing your variety of speech. May it be done through writing, or may it be done through speaking. So that is why some people as that it was some millennials today is that they were able to express themselves freely because they know how to create words that will make them identify themselves or can make them express themselves thoroughly or their thoughts. Okay, I hope I am not being too fast, but we are going to discuss about jargon. So you are free to pause this video if you feel like I am talking too much. Okay. Now, when we say jargon, is that it is a language that is used by a particular group or profession, can be used to describe also correctly technical language in a positive way. Okay, so we'll stop there. When we say jargon, is that we could say that it is the technical language. Say, for an example, is in a group of educators, we are aware we are fully aware of the set of terms that we have in education, such as we are aware of educational management. We're also aware of classroom behavior, motivation. But when it comes to say for an example is those students of person who are in a medical field, is that we could distinguish them as someone who works in a medical field because they have this kinds of terms such as cold blue, which is emergency, and then we also have what is syringe, which is like a needle, and then what else, so that's what makes us separate within each other. Okay, so there is specific type of study, therefore there is a specific type of field, so therefore they also have specific set of words which are being used by that particular group in a certain profession.